Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/spookshow. Then go over to morbidlybeautiful.com as we are now part of the Morbidly Beautiful Podcasting Network.
Van Helsing. My blood now flows through her veins.
It was terrible. It was just terrible. Oh, no, he's gonna cry.
Yeah, what's all this? Keep back there.
Fran? You're gonna need a bigger boat.
I beg you, and you shame me.
Take care of yourself.
Hello, welcome back to the All-American Spook Show podcast. I'm Josh, and I'm joined here with Donnie. Yo. Tiana.
Hey.
And the Professor Smoke.
The drugs I took seem to light up my brain.
I was wondering why you're just a floating hat and a pair of glasses. This explains a lot. So we are beginning today, officially, is the beginning of the Universal Summer. Every summer, we always have a big summer event. We spend, 2 or 3 months or whatever on a theme. So we started this year's back with, what was the first one? The Summer of the Wolf, right? Where we just did werewolf movies. Then we did, I don't remember the order of all these, so forgive me if I'm getting them out of order, but I think the next one was Camp Spook Show. Then I remember we did which was, by the way, the theme of that one was just camping movies, right? Just movies like Friday the 13th or Madman, stuff like that, right?
Yeah. Thankfully, we didn't do Cabin Fever back then, though.
Well, we just
then we were able to save it until, that last episode, or whichever order.
Yeah, that was just this past Friday that came out. That was the wrap-up of the Cabin Fever event. Go check that out. Literally just the last episode that just came out. Then we did Spook Show Summer Disaster, where all summer long it was just disaster movies of varying degrees, right? And then we did the Sucky Summer, I think was the next one.
Vampire, yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing but vampire movies. And then last summer, this one was probably our least liked of the summer events. It's the one that Donnie completely bailed out of altogether.
Yeah.
And that was the Sasquatch Summer. Self-explanatory, just nothing but Sasquatch movies. So this summer, we decided it's got to be better than the Sasquatch bullshit of last summer, right? So we're going with Universal Summer. So the whole point of this is every horror movie, essentially, that Universal Pictures released, whether they produced it or distributed it. So that's the whole theme of this summer. So we're starting off with Tiana's pick, right? Which is, like we just said, what is it?
The Invisible Man from 1933.
It's almost amazing that we've never watched this, nearly 8 years in, because we have watched Dracula, we watched the original Frankenstein, and we did The Wolfman back during the Summer of the Wolf. And I know there's other, as far as the Universal Classic monsters are concerned, I think that's the only ones we've done, but because we still haven't done the original Mummy. So there's still plenty of things left that we haven't done. And even after this Universal Summer thing, there'll be plenty of things left over. But there are other movies from Universal that we have done. I don't have the complete list in front of me. I need to do that. But I know we did, like, say, Halloween. Some of those Halloween movies were Universal, right? Maybe the original. I know those remakes, I believe. Jaws. We did Jaws. That's just off the top of my head. I'm sure there's plenty of others that, Universal had their fingers in that we've done already. So we'll probably throw some of those out there either on YouTube or maybe even here on the podcast feed as the summer goes along, just as some extra video, like, episodes and all that stuff. Here's some stuff we did in the past, because to be fair, some of that stuff is buried away in the archives a little bit. So maybe we'll pull those back out as Spook Show Rewind, Spook Show Archives, whatever. So y'all can check those out, the past ones that we've done. But Tiana, since you brought it to the table, what's your history with the Invisible Man? I assume you've seen this before.
Yeah, I've seen it a few times. It's actually it's up there with Dracula, but it's one of my favorites of the Universal monsters.
Donnie, what about you? Have you ever seen the Invisible Man before?
So no, this was actually the first time I've watched it ever.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah. I have definitely seen this probably more than once, but it's been a long time. I mean, I remember everything about it, but I have seen it, but it's just been a long time, probably 20, 30 years. It's been a very long time. Smoke, what about you?
Probably about the same as what Tiana said, about a handful of times. Like this time is probably at least the fourth time, maybe somewhere in there.
Yeah, that's probably about right for me too. But it's just been a long time since I've seen it. You know, like a lot of these movies. I think we talked about that when we did Dracula, Frankenstein, Wolfman, and all that. Like I watched them so many times back in the day. It's kind of like not something I put on rotation as much anymore because I've seen it a number of times. So you almost kind of take them for granted, you know, in a way.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because they're just always there. I'll watch them at some point, and then,
Yeah.
and then 15, 20, 30 years pass. Oh shit, I haven't seen that in forever. But I've seen just about every one of these. Now, the sequels and stuff is where you get me for sure. I don't recall if I've seen any other Invisible Man movie.
Yeah, I might be. How many are there, anyways? 2 sequels
No,
or just one?
you had to ask
Just
right
one.
away because I had that pulled up somewhere and I got to find it. But I want to say there's like 5 or 6. Believe it
Oh,
or
is
not.
it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I definitely haven't seen. I might have seen the second one once.
Let's see. Here it is, the Invisible Man film series. There were where are the damn movie? Jesus Christ! All right, so you got the Invisible Man, the one we're talking about today. Then you've got the Invisible Man Returns, which that came out in
Yeah, that one I might have seen.
1940. Then also in 1940, I think this one was more of a spoof kind of thing, but it was, you know, part of the series and it was Universal, and that's The Invisible Woman came out.
Yeah, I
in
haven't seen that one.
1940.
Oh, you mean Sue Storm? Or no?
Yeah, no, way before her.
Oh, okay.
Invisible Agent, that came out in 1942, so that was a couple years later. And and then in 1944, there was The Invisible Man's Revenge. And then in 1951, one of the later Abbott and Costello movies was Abbott and Costello Meet the Invisible Man.
And then in 1990, The Invisible Maniac. No.
Yeah, well, and that's
not
even,
related.
and that's not even getting into like that kind of thing where
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Invisible Maniac has nothing to do with it. Or
No.
there was another Invisible Man, right? A remake or whatever from a few years back,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, there was that. Yeah.
2020?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds
Yeah.
about
I
right.
think it was, yeah, it's that far back. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, not that's not far back. It didn't feel like it's been 6 years. But,
yeah, I know, right?
but also then all the little parody things, like the one I sent on the chat from Amazon Women on the Moon had a segment called "Son of the Invisible Man" with
Yeah.
Ed Begley Jr.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing, parodies and satires and whatnot. You know,
Yeah.
sketch comedies.
Yeah, and I remember that one was a Kevin Bacon movie called The Hollow Man.
Oh yeah.
That was essentially the Invisible Man, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then the one with Chevy Chase.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one too.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
Yeah, so
that was
there's been
definitely more a comedy one. Right?
that. I think the Invisible Man as a character kind of lends itself to being comedy too, if you wanted it to. You could go really
Oh yeah,
dark.
definitely.
You could go really dark into the side of like, you know, what man would become if they had this power, so to speak, and that's kind of what it. We'll dive into that as this movie goes along, but then you could go to that goofy side of it. You know.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like they did in that little spoof, the short
Yeah.
spoof with Ed Begley, right? That kind of
Yeah, yeah. Well, speaking of that, I need to get Amazon Women on the Moon on as a cult corner choice or something.
Yeah, for sure. So, anyways, yeah, The Invisible Man. It was released. Well, actually, one other title for this is just H.G. Wells' Invisible Man.
Mm.
But it debuted on Halloween Day, October 31st of 1933, at a showing, or I guess multiple showings, in of all places, Greeley, Colorado. Super specific. I don't know what the connection was there, but that's where it had its debut. But then it was mostly wider, you know, as movies were in 1933. It's not like it is today. The whole system is different. But it played much wider by November 13th of 1933. I got no numbers as far as like what this thing made because it's something this old. It's harder to peg it. You know, like a lot of time if you search around on the internet, you'll see a lot of this is like ticket sales and not necessarily money that they made. It did very well, but I didn't even find a ticket sale number on this one. So there's really no way exactly of knowing what it made. Plus, too, like they sold X amount of tickets, but the tickets back then were probably 3 cents. You know, so it's
Yeah.
That's a good point.
kind of hard to equate.
So you mentioned H.G. Wells. Believe it or not, this is actually our very first H.G. Wells movie on
Adaptation.
Yeah.
That is hard to believe. It feels like there'd be something. And then I just keep thinking of H.P. Lovecraft. When you think H.G. Wells, I'm thinking H.P. Lovecraft, but that's not completely different thing. So no, you're right. You're probably right. I can't think of anything else that we would have done. Was the Blob? Did that have anything to do with H.G. Wells? Because that just
I don't
feels like
think
something.
so.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like I don't think it was though, but yeah. Well, Time Machine's another one of his novels.
Right.
That just,
They've done multiple versions of that,
Mhm.
which wouldn't fall in the horror thing, but it would fall in the cold corner.
Of course, this movie was produced and distributed by Universal Pictures Corporation. Rating is approved. Now, this is pre-code, although it's like right around that cusp of that time where the Hays Code came into effect, because I want to say it was just within a year or two later when the Hays Code comes around. So this is technically a pre-code movie. So it was kind of part of the tail end of the Wild West of of movies, right? When they started being more regulated.
Yeah.
Total runtime is 1 hour and 11 minutes, which is crazy by today's standards, right? It's very short. On IMDb, listed as a horror sci-fi, which makes perfect sense. It was filmed in Universal Studios there in Universal City, California from June to August of 1933. So that's a quick turnaround, man. Like pretty much wrapped by August, out by Halloween. So that's a pretty quick turnaround, especially with these special effects and everything, you know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
But
I mean,
a lot of what they did was in camera for that stuff. So it's probably not, I mean, I'm sure there was lots of editing, but not to the degree that they would do it today, you know.
oh, yeah. Today, all kind of post-production stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was done for a budget of roughly today's money, $328,000 is what it took. Now, as far as if you actually looked up the worldwide gross of this movie, it's not much. It's only like $20,000 or $30,000. But like I said, equate, right? Like, and they're not counting up all that money from back in the day. A lot of that number that you'll see today is from the various re-releases that it got.
Yeah.
60, 70, 80 years later. So that's where most of that money comes from, and in the international market too. Like we just mentioned, it's based on the H.G. Wells novel of The Invisible Man from 1897. So novel of the same name. Donnie, have you read that 1897 novel by H.G. Wells?
No,
No.
not a chance.
Which is there's one. There's a lot of similarities. I mean, I think they did a great, fair job of keeping it close to the novel. But the novel's set in 1897 when it was, came out. I guess in that time, and so the movie is set when the movie came out, 1933.
Mm-hmm.
That's one difference.
I think I had seen something where like this is actually kind of an amalgamation of the story itself. It's not directly the novel. I've never read the novel, so I can't say for certain. But what I saw was it's not directly say like, because H.G. Wells, by the way, was still alive when they made this. He was still around.
Yeah.
And they kind of combined the plot lines of a movie called, a book called Invisible Murderer or something like that. I don't remember. I have to look that up again, but I think that was the name of the book. And that one went more into the person is going kind of crazy with power part of it.
Yeah, yeah.
The H.G. Wells novel didn't go too deep into that.
Now, I think in the novel he was already kind of, the drug in the movie it's the drugs that kind of turn him into the madman.
That way, yeah.
Yeah. In the novel, I think he was already sort of a megalomaniac kind of a person.
Yeah.
And so then this having the ability to do this kind of thing, so he's more of a sympathetic character in the movie than he is in the novel.
so maybe that's what it is. It's like they took the plots of those two novels and kind of merged them together to make, the screenplay or the story for this movie. But Claude Rains plays the Invisible Man in this movie. He was not, I'm not sure if he was the first choice or not. He's the one that ended up with it, right? But there were two others considered at the time. Number one, Boris Karloff.
Yeah.
Which I don't,
I mean,
considering you don't see the guy, you don't really see the Invisible Man till literally the bitter end. Would it matter? But
and I've read that there's two reasons why Karloff wasn't in it. One, that Karloff didn't want to do it because he didn't have any screen time except 20 seconds at the end of the movie. And two, the other thing I heard was that him and James Whale had a falling out for a while anyways. And so
I think there was something between James Whale and Universal and everything too.
Yeah.
The other name that was mentioned for this was Colin Clive. Remember, he was, Dr. Frankenstein in Frankenstein.
Yeah. And I think I read that the producer, Carl Laemmle, wanted Colin Clive. James Whale wanted Claude Rains, but Claude Rains hadn't really done anything other than stage acting at the time. And I think that's why Laemmle was against that. And I think Colin Clive tried out for the role. And I was reading that James Whale asked him, though, I guess off to the side, kind of, don't take it. He basically was prompting him not to take the role because he really wanted Claude Rains to have it. And then I guess Colin Clive decided not to do it, and he went to visit family or something in England anyway. So that's why he said he turned it down.
Yeah. Well, it worked out for all involved either way, right? But
Claude Rains is great. I mean, I love all the stuff he went on to do. He worked with Hitchcock and a lot of other great directors. Some great roles.
The movie where he is invisible, right? It was shot covering those parts where he was going to be invisible with like black velvet.
Yeah.
And then kind of shot so like it would like 2 or 3, 4 layers of film. So it would be like cover that, say if it's just his jaw, they would just cover that in black velvet. He would do his thing, and then they would cover that with another shot of nothing there, so it's like the background. Then they would kind of merge that on top of it. And then they said one of the things that I saw that was a really tricky shot. Remember, there's the one where he is standing in a mirror looking at himself, and I think he's taking the bandages off. So that was basically like 4 or 5 layers of the same thing, because not only did they have to get that part where he's covered in the velvet, but then you had to get the background behind him. Then you had to get the shot of the mirror, like the background of the mirror, and then put him in the mirror. So like lots of tricks of the camera, lots of editing going on here. And I mean, they're really like pioneers of some crazy trickery in this movie.
Yeah, they pulled it off excellently, especially for when you're thinking about it's 1933 and you're watching this however many years later. That is, and it still holds up. I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Arguably, probably looks better than some,
at
least some cheaper movies that you would see today.
Yeah.
I mean, not to compare it to say Avatar or something like that. The top notch stuff, but compared to your average flick, it holds up very well. It was produced. You mentioned his name a minute ago by Carl Laemmle. I think that's how you say his name, right? Carl Laemmle Jr.
I believe so, yeah.
He was co-founder and studio head of Universal Pictures at the time. He also produced like Frankenstein, Dracula, and all that. Really, and maybe this would be part of what we do when we do the wrap-up thing, where we'll kind of talk about Universal Pictures and more of it in generalities. Carl Laemmle is probably one of the ones that you thank for Universal Monsters even existing, really, because I think before his little stint as the head of the studio, they didn't make stuff like this, and if they did, it was kind of cheap. He's the first one that comes along and says, "All right, we're going to make this stuff, and we're going to
make a bigger production.
Yeah, we're gonna put more money behind it and stuff like that." So really, you got probably mostly him to thank for Dracula, Frankenstein, Invisible Man, and so on, or a few others.
I'm not sure who was the head, who was the main guy. I don't know if his dad.
I think it was
Carl Laemmle Senior.
I think it was his dad. Yeah,
and so
don't hold me to it, but I think he I think he died of a heart attack or something like that. And then
okay.
He
was the silent era guy, I guess.
But mostly, yeah. So like pre-30s, it was Senior, and then by the time the 30s come along, he takes over, and then but he didn't he kind of held on to it less than a decade, because after that Universal kind of went into the shitter or something. Something happened. Yeah. There was something where they owed money or something, and then basically like some corporation took it over, and the rest is history. So. And one of the first things they did is like pull back the budgets on these monster movies.
Those later films, especially on the horror movies and stuff.
Yep. So that's why those first handful are like, wow, this is, this holds up. This is really good. And then the other one's like,
Yeah, by the time you get down to what the House of Frankenstein and Dracula's, I mean, now they are entertaining and fun in their own way, but they're definitely not the greatest scripts and production values and stuff going on.
They're not putting
actors even
putting as much into it by then.
Yeah.
It was directed, you mentioned him earlier, directed by James Whale, who also had, just a couple years before this, had done Frankenstein. He also did The Old Dark House, the original one. I believe it was the original. Hell, for all I know, there might be a silent one.
I think there might have been a silent one.
Yeah.
But yeah, the sound, the first sound one anyway.
But that's another one. I mean, I know we already have things planned out for Universal Summer, and I know we're not doing that movie for this, but like that would be a really good one, because that's another early example of what set the Universal horror pictures apart, was The Old Dark House for sure. Uncredited. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong guy. James Whale.
Frankenberry?
Frankenberry. Old Dark House, and he also did Bride of Frankenstein, which some people argue is better than Frankenstein.
Yeah. I'd say arguably. Arguably is a key word in there, right?
Yeah, it's debatable.
Yeah.
Some people say that.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it. I mean, it just depends on. I don't know. We'll get to that. We'll get to those. Yeah, when we get further into Universal. I mean,
once again,
we'll see what other ones get pulled, and
Once again, nowadays the Bride is just as iconic as some of these other monsters, but like, it was a sequel to that. I think it was more success. I could be wrong about that. I think it was slightly more successful than the.
Yeah, I believe it was too.
But yeah, it holds its special place. I mean, they've made the Bride kind of a horror icon as well too, just from that.
Yeah,
really, just from that one movie.
And not even just the Bride, just all the other characters and things going on in that movie. I think it had more going on than the original Frankenstein. It just depends on where you fall as to whether you like stripped down, streamlined story of the first one or the more epic things going on in the second one, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll get to that one at some point down the road
But
too. I mean,
James Whale did all that, so he was the man back then. He had a good run, and then it kind of went to shit after that. Not long after that, I think he did like Showboat or something like that, and then
oh yeah,
the whole thing kind of went to shit, and then he was not necessarily gone, but just he didn't do as much anymore, and then he finally went away.
Yeah.
So I'm
I mean,
sure
it happens. Unfortunately, like Todd Browning, right? They directed Dracula and quite a handful of more movies for Universal, and then he did Freaks, and
Yep.
Freaks is what destroyed him, kind of, because it was such a controversial movie that he pretty much didn't get a whole lot of money or a whole lot of projects from in Hollywood after that.
The screenplay was written by R.C. Sheriff, who had done some dialogue on The Old Dark House. He had an uncredited adaptation role on Bride of Frankenstein, and also an uncredited contribution role to Dracula's Daughter a handful of years later. He did some other stuff, but that was, the main things that, people may remember R.C. Sheriff for. It stars, like we mentioned, Claude Rains as Dr. Jack Griffin / the Invisible Man. He was also in Casablanca, one of the greatest movies ever made. He was in The Wolf Man, Phantom of the Opera. So, I mean, he had one hell of a run, Claude Rains. He may not be Dracula or Frankenstein, but he's right there, right? As far as, Bela Lugosi, Boris Karloff. I mean, he's in that top 5 conversation, I would say.
Was he in Phantom of the Opera? Yep. Was he in the Universal Phantom of the Opera? Right? Yeah.
Yep. Like I said, between that and The Wolf Man. So, yeah, I mean, he had a hell of a run. It also stars Gloria Stewart as Flora. That's, the Invisible Man's girlfriend in the movie. She went on to have an Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actress in Titanic. And not the old one, the Leonardo DiCaprio Titanic. She was Old Lady Rose.
Oh, yeah.
In Titanic. Remember the old version of Rose at the end or whatever? That's her.
Mm-hmm.
So, what, 80 years later, whatever the hell it was, I'm not quick on the math, 70, 80 years, she's in The Invisible Man, and then all the way to Titanic. She actually did some more stuff after that. She took like a damn 30-year, I think it was something to do with family, like raising her family, whatever. Like, she did nothing basically from 1946 to 1975. Like, as far as movies and TV shows and all that, nothing. Yeah. And then she just kind of reappeared randomly in like TV shows, movies, stuff like that. And then it eventually leads to Titanic, where she got a damn Oscar nomination for that towards the end of her life. She did some stuff after that, and then she passed away. But yeah, Gloria Stewart. I thought that
also worth noting that the novel doesn't have a girlfriend or a wife character for him.
Yeah, I think I saw that
added
too.
For
they
the movie.
Kind of added her in. Yeah. Well, we've talked about that before with some of these older movies. Like there always had to it feels like there always had to be some kind of romantic something going on in the movie. So
and probably in this one particularly, they probably wanted to give him a little bit more, like I said, that sympathizing sort of. In the novel, he's just meant to be a megalomaniac asshole, really.
Yeah.
Bent on domination or whatever. So in the movie, they make him at least a little bit sympathetic by having, all right, here's a girlfriend, you can play off the character off of that and get some emotion out of that and whatnot, and making him also the drug, turning his brain into madness, right? Rather than just him being that way from the beginning.
Yeah, what was it they said in the movie? It was like he hasn't realized in this medical article here that if all he saw was that this stuff helps with something, but he didn't read further that it makes you crazy as a lunatic. Uh-oh.
Which reminds me of that, plays off of that Son of Frankenstein skit we talked about from Amazon Women on the Moon, where he's also taking the drug. It's very similar to this, and it does, where the guy tells him, well, that does make you mad and a lunatic only, and it does make him a lunatic, but it doesn't make him invisible.
Yeah.
He just thinks he is.
He didn't take it all the way. He didn't take it right, whatever.
Yeah.
So that whole skit, the whole 3 minutes, he's just running around naked.
He's running around naked, thinking nobody can see him because an Invisible Man. You don't really think about it too much, really, but he's naked. In order to be invisible, the Invisible Man has to be stark naked, running around. Right?
Yeah, because otherwise, because you see that a lot in the movie. You see his shirt floating around, you see his glasses or his bandages, whatever, and then, like you said, you don't dwell on it. But yeah, to be completely invisible, he's full butt naked.
Which has got to be pretty invigorating. I mean, imagine just taking all your clothes off and just running around when nobody can see you.
which leads to madness. As proven in this documentary, The Invisible Man. So I guess we can get started on the movie itself. By the way, if you have never seen The Invisible Man, this is a good point for us to tell you we are a spoiler-filled podcast. So if there is like a 90-year moratorium, I think. Damn near, I mean, think about it. It's damn near 100 years since this movie came out. We're in 2026.
Yeah. That was a few years ago. We were talking about, what was it? The Nosferatu?
Yeah,
100 years for Nosferatu?
Yeah, that was 1922, I believe.
Yeah, we'll be coming up on 100 years of talkies,
Oh yeah, we're getting close. I mean, and this was rough 33 by 33 it's pretty, there's talking pictures, but like
I think it's 28 or 29, right?
Yeah, I was about to say,
there. I mean,
Dracula and Frankenstein
29.
were among probably the first big ones.
Yeah.
Really.
The cusp. There's some I'm sure that were like experimental, like here's the first talkie, but it was like way back in whatever,
Yeah.
26 or 7 or something, where rudimentary or whatever, and then there's probably a few more. So I don't really know what the cutoff kind of is, where there was basically no silent films and only talkies. Probably 1930, right? Maybe 29, 30, somewhere in there.
Well, from what I could tell, they still did make some silent film even after talking films, but not many.
Not many.
Yeah, like I guess that was probably still kind of like the difference between color and black and white. There were still some stragglers for a while for various reasons. I think there was a little bit of that was silent, but not much. Like once they discovered they could talk, it was on. It didn't take much.
Well, unfortunately, some actors didn't make the transition, though, right?
Yeah,
some actors and actresses weren't able to, didn't have a good speaking voice or whatever, and didn't. Yeah,
I think Charlie Chaplin was one of them, right?
Yeah.
Like he didn't really. He did some, but not much.
Nope.
I'm sure there's plenty of other ones like Rudolph Valentino or something. Some classic silent film actors that just kind of went away after that.
Yeah. And speaking of Charlie Chaplin, I think there was a movie called Limelight, and I think it might have been in the 40s. That was actually a really good movie of his that was, talkies or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Hurry, step right this way, folks, for the most extravagant array of refreshment goodies ever assembled under one roof. Enjoy breathtaking, taste-tempting candies of finest quality. Enjoy popcorn, exploded into tender, delicious, crispy bites of crunchy goodness. Enjoy the tops in cool, refreshing soft drinks. If you want to enjoy some refreshments, this is your opportunity. There will now be a short intermission.
But yeah, anyways, so we get into the movie. So he goes, by he, I mean the Invisible Man. We don't know he's invisible yet. He's just a dude like wearing a trench coat, covered in bandages, right? And he's got goggles on. So it's a cool look,
Yeah.
Just that is a cool, iconic look. And he goes into it's like in a snowstorm or something. So he seeks shelter and he goes to this inn in this small town. I forget what the name of the inn is, but there's like a quirky innkeeper, the man and the woman, and he rents a room upstairs and he's trying to do experiments, I guess, to kind of reverse what he has done. So like leading up to this, he has made himself invisible. Now he's trying to undo it, but he's also kind of going crazy from the process, right? And that leads us down the path that the whole movie is on. But he asked not to be disturbed and in his room, and he's doing the experiments. And then the innkeeper, she forgot the mustard. I love that shit where like she just walks back in like, oh, here's the mustard. And he looks up and he's got no jaw.
Dude, her face is so just like, I don't know, just the way that she looks is.
Oh, everything. I loved everything about her.
Yeah.
Like she's super over the top, like reacts exactly the way you would want someone to react to seeing this dude, like everything just, even when like he pushes her husband or whatever comes in, like, are you going to get the fuck out of here? Right. And he hooks him down the stairs. And the way she's acting, like he just bonked his head. He's all right, for the most part. And the way she's acting like he's dead, like, oh God, oh, it's just hilarious the way she's acting. When the cop walks in to see all this, he goes, "What's all this then?" That dude is like, "What's all this?"
What's that vernacular or whatever? It's
like a Cockney accent.
Yeah, the Cockney accent. Yeah.
What's all this then? And then when they see like parts of him are gone or whatever the fuck, he's like, he's all eaten away. That dude's perfect.
Yeah.
And that's how he gets away, though, is he just takes all his clothes off and then he. I love that he does that a
His
lot.
laugh.
Yeah, it's just a maniacal laugh of, oh, yeah. And then just,
Hey, that reminds me too. I don't know if y'all read that, but I think it was in one of the things on trivia things. But it was Mark Hamill apparently was based a lot of his
Like Joker.
The Joker.
speaking things for the Joker for the animated Batman stuff off
Yeah.
of
I can see
this
it.
movie Claude Rains.
Yeah.
I could totally see it. But Griffin, that's the Invisible Man's name. Griffin tells Kemp. Now, Kemp is like his colleague or whatever, right?
Colleague, yeah.
That he brings into this saying like, all right, this has happened to me and now we're going to take over the world. Like he makes a huge leap like that. Like, oh, wait a minute. If I'm invisible, this means I can just do whatever the hell I want to do. So I need a public face for this because they're not going to see me, obviously. So there needs to be someone that can do the things that I need them to do, can't do, whatever. So you're going to be the public face of it. Basically, I guess threatens him with his life, like, or I'm going to kill you, So, but yeah, he just instantly tells him he's going to take over the world with these invisible powers. There's a big town meeting where they're all discussing what the hell's going on, what they should do about it or whatever. And then the one cop says like, oh, this is all a hoax. And then he just goes in there and beats the shit out of the guy and kills him. I'll show you it's a hoax. He stomps him out.
Oh, that's the one he killed, right? With the stool or no?
Yep.
Yeah.
Where he hits him at the end in the head with the stool.
Yeah. So he just straight up kills a dude. But that's not the end of his reign of terror by far.
It's just getting started.
Before that, though, before he goes really, like, I guess this is where he truly goes cuckoo, where he's skipping down the road and he's here we go gathering nuts in May.
Yeah, and it's just like a pair of trousers.
Yeah, you just see pants floating down the road. Here we go gathering nuts in May. But yeah, right after that, he just so there's a search party looking for him as best they can. Obviously, you're looking for an invisible man, right? He just straight up hucks two dudes off the side of a cliff. Two of the searchers. Yeah. He just murders them, just throws them down a cliff. Then he does something where I guess he messes with the train tracks, the switcher, the switcher,
the little switch thing, yeah.
And he runs a train off, killing hundreds of people. I mean, he just in that one simple scene, you just straight up see like 100 people or more die because he just sent a train off the side of a cliff, and he's just laughing. I love when the dudes are like, one of their plots is paint. Some of these little things they come up with to figure it out, it's kind of, stroke of genius kind of thing, right? But they all have like spray paint, like, but those early old school, like not cans of spray paint, but like the spray guns of paint or whatever. And then like, if they hear or see something up there, they're supposed to hit it. So then it would mark him and then they could capture him or whatever. The one dude that sees something up on top of the roof moving and it's a cat, he just spray paints a cat. Oh yeah. By the way, he also, so the guy Kemp, the guy his colleague that he's trying to get to help him, he sets that dude all kinds of up. Like that dude goes to the cops. The cops are like, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to use you as bait to get him to come out. And then we'll know, if we know where he's at, then we can try to contain him in some way. Right. So they use him kind of as bait, but this dude doesn't really want to go along with it. He goes along with it to a degree, but then wants to bolt on his own or whatever. So he's got a disguise on. He disguises himself as a cop, gets into a car and goes back to his house or whatever. But meantime, the Invisible Man is in the car the entire time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he just like, as soon as the guy's going down the road, he's like, I knew you were going to do this, Kemp. And then, and basically like tells him how he's going to kill him and that you're going to die a horrifying death, and then does it.
And that was pretty horrifying.
Yeah. Like, here's the way it's
right off the cliff.
Here's the way it's going to play out, Kemp. I'm going to do all this and there ain't shit you can do about it. And then I'm going to put, the last thing you're going to see is that tree going through yourself as you get pushed down the hill. It's like, Jesus, man. And that's exactly what he does. Is he locks it down, shoves the car off the side of the cliff, and it explodes. The end of Kemp, right?
Mm-hmm.
But right after this, I guess he needs to catch some Z's. So he goes into a barn and falls asleep. The dude that owns the barn, I guess he hears some snoring or something. I think that's what the giveaway was. Somehow the guy that owns the barn, I think he's in there. So the cops surround the barn, essentially set the barn on fire. He comes out, and then as soon as like the doors open, they just open up fire and shoot him. And they didn't kill him on the spot, but he's mortally wounded. And then so the last scene is him laying in a hospital bed, and his love, his bride to be, whatever, Flora, she comes in and then delivers the line. I guess probably one of the more quotable lines of the movie is he says, "I meddled in things that man must leave alone," and then goes bleh, and then bleh, bleh. So yeah, he dies, and then that's the only time you actually see Claude Rains is when he dies, right? Because there's some throwaway line of like the doctor comes out, he's like, he's going to die. Once he dies, the potion or whatever, the chemicals, whatever has made him this way, they will wear off and you'll be able to see him. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, like as soon as he dies, he reappears and he's laying in the bed dead. The end. The Invisible Man. Good old Claude Rains. Tiana, you were the one that brought it to the table, so we'll let you get started. What's your final thoughts? What's your star rating on The Invisible Man?
Well, this is like I said earlier, probably my favorite of the Universal monsters. And it probably is because of it's hard, but it's comedy too. Mm-hmm. In a dark way, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah, but, if you're going to say comedy, it's definitely dark comedy. Yeah.
But one of the main reasons I love it is because I love descending into madness films where a character, does that. So, but yeah, I'm going to give this one 4 stars.
All right, Smoke, what do you say?
Yeah, it's great. It's one of the, I think, probably in top notch, I don't know what, top 5, top whatever, at least, Universal monster movies, I would say. And that's, I mean, probably very helped by H.G. Wells' novel and the fact that they took a good portion of that for the movie. They didn't totally just throw it out and come up with something new, almost like Dracula. The first Dracula movie, I love the Dracula movie, and I love Bela Lugosi's Dracula, but it's not nearly as close to the novel as some later ones would be because they were going with the stage play adaptation more than the novel as far as adapting that. So I think as much as I love Dracula, I think, this movie has a much better storyline or plot that taken from the novel. It's better, put it that way. I'm not necessarily saying that H.G. Wells' novel is better than the Dracula novel, but this movie is closer to the novel than Dracula was closer, to the Dracula novel. So it was a lot more stagey. I mean, that was the first of their new batch of monster movies, right? Dracula, and they were it was kind of stage bound itself. The camera is pretty static. It doesn't really move much except in that first scene with in Dracula's castle, maybe. One of the best scenes in the movie, I think, is that Dracula castle scene. But in this movie, you get the camera's not as static by the time you get here, So, and it's only the third one, right? Is that what we said? It's the third of Universal's monster movies, really, behind Dracula and Frankenstein.
Yeah, so. And the Old Dark House might have been somewhere in there.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's a horror, but I don't know if it's necessarily not monster, but it is horror. It is horror, and it's horror comedy as well a little bit. But yeah. So as far as monster movies, I guess it's their third one. But and they kept, like I said, they were up in the ante. I mean, some might put this above Frankenstein, and that's arguable, and where you fall with that. But I don't remember exactly what my rating for Frankenstein was, and I don't know if you have that.
I happen to have it right here. Tiana, by the way, I'll add too. When we did the Wolfman, Tiana, you gave that one 4 stars. Smoke, you gave that one 3 3/4. Donnie, you gave it 3 1/4. This is the Wolfman I'm talking about. Yeah. And then I gave it 3 1/2. Frankenstein, though, you asked specifically about that one. Smoke, you gave that 4 1/4. Tiana, you gave that one 4. I gave it 4 3/4. Donnie, you gave it a 4 1/4. And then I'll finish up with Dracula. Donnie, you gave that one 4 1/4. Smoke 4 1/4. I gave it 4 1/2, and so did you, Tiana, 4 1/2.
So yeah, I'll go with a 4 on this one because, like I said, that places it just below Frankenstein. And that, honestly, if you're going story for story, it's probably a better plot and storyline in Invisible Man even than that. But it's a bit more complex, right, and stuff. So, but I still enjoy Frankenstein a little bit more so just because of I don't know, just personal, it's probably my favorite of the. I don't know. Even that's arguable with me. So depends on what I'm watching, whether I'm like Frankenstein right now or Dracula or whatever.
Yeah, it depends on mood. For me, I say Frankenstein's the better of just comparing those. That's my opinion, but
yeah, I'll go with a 4.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the same thing. I mean, that slots it right where it deserves to be, in my opinion, among those 3 others that we just mentioned: Frankenstein, Dracula, Wolfman. I think this is better than the Wolfman, but it's not quite as good as Frankenstein or Dracula.
Yeah.
It's really good. I enjoy the hell out of it, but it's not quite those top 2. That's just my opinion. So But yeah, like for all the reasons you just said, I mean, it's well done. The special effects are awesome for any time period really, but for 1933, even more impressive. Claude Rains is awesome in it. All the little side characters, the innkeeper, all that stuff. It's there's like you said, there's a lot of
the Bobby, the police Bobby.
Yeah. So you got good amount of dark comedy and levity in there. I mean, it's just a good mix. It's just well done. So yeah, 4 stars. So Donnie, where do you sit?
Yeah, I'm pretty much for all the reasons that you guys said. I'm gonna echo that rating at 4 stars. We've already talked about the special effects. I enjoyed the performances primarily, mainly for the dialect, really, because that's
what's oldies.
Yeah, well, no one speaks like that anymore.
Yeah,
like,
maybe over the pond somewhere.
Yeah, maybe,
I'm sure there's some guys, but
yeah, it's kind of like but yeah, I'm at 4 stars. Yeah, this is like I'm like you guys. It is better than the Wolfman to me, but it's not quite as good as Dracula or Frankenstein.
No, and boy, these are really tough comparisons, aren't they? Because these are all great movies.
Yeah,
but it's just subtle levels of how you want to stack them. In my opinion, they're all great. There you go. That leaves us with a consensus score of exactly 4 stars. So we highly recommend you go check it out. We just spoiled it for you, but as we always say, not really. You need to go experience it for yourself. If for no other reason than Claude Rains and the special effects in this one. For a movie that's that old, man, it's very impressive and it holds up. So
yeah, for
no other reason than that, go check it out. We're not quite done here though yet. So Donnie, we're going to have our first round of Connections from the Crypt, Universal style.
Yeah.
So what you got?
Connections from the Crypt.
All right, so I got a couple things here. We've got on the cast side Dwight Frye. He was in both.
Oh, yeah.
He was in both Frankenstein and Dracula.
And it's such a it's such a throwaway thing too in this one. It's like,
it is, yeah.
It's like, oh shit, there's Dwight Frye, and he's just barely there, and then he's gone.
It is throwaway, and I totally meant to mention it because I love Dwight Frye as an actor, he's just there as he was a reporter, right?
Yeah, he was.
Didn't we make him one of the Spookshow Scream Kings?
Yeah,
one of those years?
Yeah. I want to say if it wasn't last year, it may have.
It was the year after because we did Dracula and Frankenstein fairly close to one another, so it was whatever the year was we did those. Yeah,
we did.
It's a while back.
A lot of people say, when he played Igor in Frankenstein, but no, he's playing Fritz in Frankenstein. But he's basically the Igor character. The Igor comes later, in the series, but he's basically that Igor character. Just people don't realize his name's Fritz sometimes.
It meets a terrible, terrible end. Go check that one out.
Yeah, so that's on the cast side. I do also want to mention, and then you mentioned forget it, Gloria
Stewart.
Yeah, Gloria Stewart. So we haven't. I didn't make that connection because we haven't covered Titanic, thankfully. So, but no,
Did you say thankfully?
I did. Yeah, yeah. Thankfully, we haven't covered that. But no, kind of a similar, multi-decade connection. So we've got, and this is more of an honorable mention, is John Carradine. He was also in The Howling. So that
he was in this?
Yeah. He was the townsperson or the informer that wanted to use ink.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that either.
No, I didn't.
Yeah. So that's the cast side, and then on the crew side, we've got monster makeup effects legend Jack P. Pierce, who did the makeup effects for the Wolfman, Frankenstein, and Dracula.
One of the masters, one of the early masters, for sure.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
One of the person primarily responsible for probably for most of the look of the monster. The classic look of Boris Karloff's Frankenstein. Yep. Yeah,
the one that Universal still pretty much locks down to this day. Like
those
looks.
The one they said Hammer could make it, but they can't make it. They can't make him look like
Jack Pierce's work. So there you go.
Which reminds me that the makeup horror show is shut down right now.
At Universal
They're redoing the whole thing.
Yeah, they are. I don't know what else what they're doing to it, but I guess it's going to be totally different.
I haven't seen much about that. You're talking about Universal Studios, right?
Yeah, that horror makeup show that they have over there.
In Orlando, they have that new Dark Universe thing, right? Have y'all seen any of that yet, or have y'all been down there?
Not yet. Well, just online, just some of the YouTuber stuff on it. But
yeah, I've seen stuff. Yeah,
Good to go next year, right? Trying to.
Yeah, and then I just heard that they just are getting ready to extend that, and I'm thinking it's rumored that it's gonna have a creature boat ride,
Ah,
which is gonna be awesome.
yeah.
Oh, and speaking of the Invisible Man, Creature from the Black Lagoon, and Hammer, those are two monster franchises of Universal that Hammer never touched. I guess never.
Yeah.
They didn't do an Invisible Man or a Creature movie.
Yeah. I would imagine if, even fast forward 30 something years in the 60s and 70s when they did their run of Universal classics, they're probably still like, I don't know if we probably can't pull this off as good as they did. So
Yeah. Because the Creature's kind of like a thing that's just sort of
That was-
Universal's thing, anyways.
Yeah.
It wasn't like an existing. I mean, it's probably inspired by a bunch of different things or whatever. But
But
you
if
mentioned Lovecraft. It reminds me of like the Innsmouth, the people from Innsmouth, the deep ones or whatever from Innsmouth. Kind of reminds me of one of them. But what were you say, John?
I was just thinking in the context of like they could pull off Frankenstein, Dracula, Wolfman, because if you're comparing the effects to Invisible Man and Creature from the Black Lagoon, it's a little easier to pull those off than it is that.
Yeah.
Creature was a pain in the ass to make.
Yeah, I can imagine.
With that suit.
And we'll be getting to that later this summer. There'll be
Yeah.
more in the Black Lagoon.
Mhm.
Before we completely close up, Tiana, what kind of kill count could you find?
This one is the highest of them all.
It probably is the highest of any Universal classic Universal movie.
And it's so funny to me because it even says it towards the end, right before he dies.
Mm-hmm.
It says how many people he's killed.
Oh, okay.
It's not even. But yeah, he killed 122.
Yeah, and most of those are
And
right
then
there
it
in that
ended up
train.
being it ended up being 123 because then he dies at the
Oh
end.
yeah. Wow,
But
123.
yeah, it was 100 for the train, and then just 20 of them that he killed that were the cops or the
Random other,
random.
like the search party people and
Yeah.
That was it. Yeah.
That was his move, really, is just to huck people off of cliffs and shit. Just to compare, because I have it right in front of me, to the other three that we've done of the classic Universal monsters. Wolfman had 4, a kill count of 4. Frankenstein had a kill count of 5, and Dracula had a kill count of 16.
Wow.
Which is hard to believe, 16. But yeah, 123. Just toast them all. That's crazy. Let's talk about the kill reel.
Highlight kill.
I guess I got to go with Kemp. Like his colleague or whatever said, this is what I'm going to do to you, and then pushes him off the cliff. Look, it's an old Universal classic. You're not going to, you don't line up for the gore and the, the kills.
No.
When you get them, you take them. That one was pretty good. So I'll go with that. So that leads us directly into you, Smoke. What's the gore score?
Gore score.
Well, that's no surprise. This is a classic Universal movie. There's no. I mean, what did I give like Frankenstein and Dracula? I mean, I guess maybe there's a little bit of blood in Dracula because it's a vampire movie. I don't even know if it's on screen blood or not. Now that I'm thinking about it, but
Wolfman, you gave 0.
Yeah, I was about to say if I gave 0 or did I just give a customary 1? But I guess 0 because
Frankenstein, you gave 1, and then Dracula was 0, which is funny since there was a body count of 16 in that one. 0. So
I know
0, 0, and 1.
It's just. It's just, of course, the classic era. You're not getting Dracula and like a whole bunch of blood spraying when he bites into somebody's neck or something or whatever.
Yeah.
Frankenstein, you're not getting flesh for Frankenstein yet. That not until the 70s,
Shit.
when it's like super mass, body part gore and all that. Even the new Frankenstein had all that too. I mean, well, not to the degree of flesh for Frankenstein. But
there's even more in those Hammer Frankensteins.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you're talking about the 1930s here, so it's 0. I mean, you could watch. I'm sure back then the kids didn't watch it because there are different levels of scariness and things that are, But yeah, of course today, you can show your kids these classic Universal movies.
Yeah, well, you'd be surprised. I mean, this was pre-code, right? So like, people would probably just like, maybe because of Frankenstein and Dracula, they would have drugged their kids to it. You never know. Who knows?
Or this one, I guess the kid's about to, hey kids, you want to see 100 people on a train die?
Yeah.
Well, not see them. Well, you do see them, but you don't see them. You know, the train goes over and they're in it and they die.
You want to imagine that there's a nude man running around at all times? Come and see the Invisible Man. All right, well, that's enough of this. So, yeah, that's the beginning of the Universal Summer. So, like I said, the gimmick is all summer long, movies that were produced and or distributed by Universal Pictures. So, with that in mind, next week, it just so happened that it was my choice that we're going to be talking about. And boy, this is like the polar opposite of The Invisible Man. And we're going modern times with this one. So I chose Drag Me to Hell from 2009, the Sam Raimi's, I guess, return to horror for a while. When he did this one, it was his return for a while there after the Spider-Man movies and stuff, right? So this is one that I wanted to get on the show for a while. So this was a perfect excuse to squeeze it in. So we're going to Drag Me to Hell next week. So we'll see where we land on that one. So I guess that's it. So yeah, all summer long, all through the month of June, all through the month of July, Universal Summer. So I think it's going to be a blast. So
yeah, this is going to be a good time.
Yep. And that only dips over a little bit into Grindhouse Gore. I always do that. I want the fuck. Grindhouse Gutter. It'll dip over with Two Lane Blacktop this month, and then whatever the professor selects for July. So that's the only, we're not crossing over into Video Vortex or Hammer Horror, of course. So that's pretty much the only other place. And we'll probably have some bonus extra stuff here and there throughout the summer. Obviously over on Patreon, right? We'll definitely have stuff over there. So if you want to become a patron at patreon.com/AASpookShow, go check out AASpookShow.com. That'll take you straight to our YouTube page where all that stuff we talked about is there. And just go check out some of the older stuff in the archives, and we'll repost some of that stuff over on all the socials and all that jazz. So for Tiana, Professor Smoke, Donnie, I'm Josh. We are the All-American Spook Show, and we will talk to you next week for Drag Me to Hell.
As you leave the theater, folks, please be careful. Don't let this happen to your car. Be sure to remove the speaker before you leave. If you should accidentally pull a speaker loose, please turn it in at our snack bar or box office. Thank you.